The world is changing fast. Old alliances are weakening, and new rivalries are emerging. Many countries that once stood with the United States are now pulling away. Some are frustrated with US policies, while others are choosing new partners. In this video, we'll look at 10 countries that are turning against the US in 2025. Some of these might surprise you. So, let's dive in. 10. Saudi Arabia. For decades, Saudi Arabia and the US South were close allies. But things are different now. The Saudis are getting closer to China and Russia. The reason? Oil and politics. The US is pushing for clean energy, which threatens Saudi oil exports. Meanwhile, China is buying more Saudi oil than ever before. And there's more. Saudi Arabia joined BRICS, the global economic group led by China and Russia. This means less reliance on the US and its dollar. 9. Turkey. Turkey is a NATO member, but it's acting more like an independent power. President Erdogan is playing both sides, sometimes working with the US, sometimes with Russia. Recently, Turkey bought weapons from Russia, which angered the US. And when the US supported Kurdish forces in Syria, Turkey saw it as a betrayal. Now, Turkey is making stronger ties with China, Russia, and even Iran. It's clear Turkey is moving away from American influence. 8. South Africa. South Africa was once close to the West, but now it's shifting toward BRICS. The country has openly criticized US policies and refused to take sides in global conflicts. When the US pressured South Africa to distance itself from Russia, it refused. Instead, South Africa strengthened its economic and military ties with Russia and China. This move signals a clear break from traditional Western influence. 7. Brazil. Brazil, the largest country in South America, has had a rocky relationship with the US recently. Brazil's president, Lula da Silva, criticized American sanctions on other countries. Instead of following the US, Brazil is working more with China and Russia. Trade between Brazil and China is booming, and the two countries are even talking about ditching the US dollar in their deals. If this continues, Brazil could completely turn away from the US. 6. Mexico. Yes, even America's neighbor, Mexico, is changing its stance. While still a major US trading partner, Mexico is building stronger ties with China and Russia. Why? Because Mexico wants to reduce its dependence on the US economy. Plus, disagreements over immigration, drug policies, and trade deals have caused tensions. Some Mexican politicians are even talking about joining BRICS. If that happens, US-Mexico relations could take a serious hit. 5. India. India has always been a balancing power. But in 2025, it's tilting away from the US. India and the US have military ties, but India also buys oil and weapons from Russia. And when the US pushed India to take a stronger stance against Russia, India refused. Instead, India is deepening trade with China, despite their past conflicts. If this trend continues, India might move even further away from the West. 4. Pakistan. Pakistan's relationship with the US has always been unstable. In recent years, Pakistan has grown closer to China and Russia, mainly because of economic and military support. Pakistan also blames the US for past interference in its politics. Many Pakistani leaders now prefer to work with China, which is investing heavily in the country's infrastructure. With China and Russia as strong allies, Pakistan has little reason to stay close to the US. 3. Germany. This one might be shocking. Germany has been a key US ally for decades. But tensions have been rising, especially over energy and trade. After the Nord Stream pipeline explosion, which many suspect was sabotaged, Germany had to rely more on expensive US gas instead of cheap Russian gas. This hurt the German economy. Now, Germany is questioning its dependence on the US and exploring new economic alliances, especially with China. 2. France. France has always been somewhat independent in its foreign policy. But in 2025, it's taking an even stronger stance. French President Emmanuel Macron has openly called for Europe to be less dependent on the US. He even suggested that Europe should not blindly follow America in global conflicts. With France pushing for a stronger European identity separate from US influence, the two nations are drifting apart. 1. China. This one is no surprise. The US and China are locked in a major global rivalry. Trade wars, military tensions, and tech competition have pushed them further apart. China is leading efforts to reduce the world's reliance on the US dollar. It's forming new alliances with Russia, Iran, and Saudi Arabia. The biggest shift? China's growing influence in Africa, Latin America, and even Europe. The more China expands, the weaker US influence becomes. So, what does this all mean? The world is changing, and US dominance is being challenged. More countries are looking for alternatives, whether it's China, Russia, or regional alliances. Will the US be able to hold on to its power? Or are we witnessing the rise of a new global order? Let us know in the comments what you think. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more eye-opening videos. See you in the next one.